Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you Tarsh versus Manotha in round 2 lower bracket of the 4th Asia Pacific tournament. Today we're going to be seeing Carpiquet Duellists, and on the first axis side we have Tarsh with his Panzer Lehr, and on the second axis side we have Manotha with the 17th SS-Panzergrenadiers. So this is probably a map that was chosen by Tarsh. It looks like he got what he wanted, and honestly this map can suit the Panzer Lehr very well in Phase B and C. However, in Phase A, there is a lot of room for Manotha's 17th SS to make some ground, and if he finds a concentrated push into the top or bottom side, could definitely push this in his favour. So I've mentioned this before with the Carpiquet Duelist map, but whoever gets infantry into the other side's hangars first generally wins the game, because it's really hard to dislodge infantry once it gets that far on the map. Let's have a look at some of these units going down either way, because Tarsh is going to have to be a little bit careful how he plays this, especially against the 17th SS, which does have the 3-star Stug that could do a lot of work in Phase A against some of Tarsh's units. So the 258 here is okay with the Panzergrens. Further down we do see a 2341, a 258. There's going to be a Gepard at the start, 251 with Spähtrupp and a Panzerwerfer and a Pak 38. Interesting composition for sure. This Panzerwerfer could definitely help him deal with the Stug early on, but that I guess depends on whether or not Manotha is actually going to bring that out. It is quite an expensive investment, is the word I was looking for. But yeah, it is a 3-star Stug after all, if you can bring it in with command infantry, and that is scary for Tarsh to deal with like his best things to deal with that Stug. It is 8 armor, so a Puma with like 10 AP can do the job. Yes, a Pak 38 can do the job as well. But that thing can be absolutely lethal, and a couple of direct hits onto an AT gun with its accuracy, the Stug 3 can just walk right through it. So that's definitely something I'd like to see, but whether or not Manotha opts to go down that route remains to be seen. The other things, of course, that people know the 17th SS for is the Nebelwerfers. They have the Nebelwerfer 41s, and early on those can do a lot of damage. They can pin down a lot of units, and you can really take advantage of that if you have some fast-moving stuff yourself. Now, the 17th SS doesn't really have any fast-moving units early on, not anything significant anyway. It's going to mainly rely on its infantry pushing capabilities in order to take advantage of that surrender. You would have to use a sort of Schwimmwagen, for example, before it unloaded in order to just run past those units and get those. So that's the way you'd have to do it, but in this case let's have a look at the units Manotha has chosen. So he's opted for a Pak 40 early on. This could be a grave mistake in the face of a Panzerwerfer, but he doesn't know that, so off we go seeing that play occur. He does have Spähtrupp here. He's got his Schwimmwagen with the command infantry. He's got some Panzergrens, he's got some Stosstroop. For the mid he's got more Spähtrupp, AT gun and another Stosstroop, and on the top side he has the Spähtrupp, he has a Pak 38 I think that is, command infantry, Spähtrupp and some Panzergrens there. So these Stosstroop, actually, I didn't really mention those in this matchup, but they could be really useful for finding sort of ambushes and just generally defending isolated buildings. Because if Tarsh decides to try and push some units, or some Panzergrens for example, onto these hangars, and there's just a unit of Stosstroop sat in there, then those Stosstroop can often kill the Panzergrens in the open before the Panzergrens can like spot the Stosstroop from a distance and use their MG fire support. So those Stosstroop could come in very handy for sort of damaging the infantry availability that Tarsh has. But I feel like Manotha is giving a little bit too much respect to the Panzer Lehr early on, especially with that Stug that he has available, and I am going to keep going on about it until I see it in this game, because it's a real powerful unit that I feel could really take advantage of the weaknesses that the Panzer Lehr has early on, especially on an open map like this. So where does this game go from here? Both players, like I said, deploying quite respectfully of each other. Tarsh hasn't really got over aggressive yet. We have seen him play aggressive with the Panzer Lehr in the past 2 games. He's managed to get a little bit of ground early on, which isn't something you often see, but is a way to sort of get himself to phase B. Because say you put aggression, like often people say being aggressive is best form of like defense, and for the Panzer Lehr it kind of is, because it delays the amount of time the opponent has to make the aggressive play themselves in phase A, and that then allows the Panzer Lehr to move into phase B and phase C, where it starts to pick up more of those powerful units and really solidify itself a lead. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see how this really works out. Pack 40 is just primed here, ready to try and take on the 2-3-4-1, but I'm pretty sure that Manotha may have spotted this Panzerwerfer. Yes, he can see it, so I'm not even sure he will want to fire with this Pack 40, because as soon as he does, the Panzerwerfer is going to be on his case, and yeah, he knows it. So what can you do about that? Well, I guess one thing you could try and do is get a vehicle in that can maybe move that Pack 40 to the top side instead, like just sort of get a unit in that can get that Pack 40 out of there, because that is going to happen regardless of how well this Pack 40 does. The only reason that Panzerwerfer would not fire at the Pack 40 is if it spots something else first and fires at that, or if the Pack 40 hits the Panzerwerfer directly, which could happen since it is in range. But we'll have to wait and see. Double flak-filling actually brought in here at the start on the side of Manotha. Not really sure why. It's unlikely he's going to see any aircraft from the Panzer Lehr in phase A. So that's interesting. Maybe he's looking towards using the Ju-87 and some like Ju-87 bombers and trying to like cover them from any potential fighters, but yeah, I'm not sure that the Panzer Lehr would even bring out any fighters, so that's a very odd choice of units for me on the side of Manotha here. Like a real sort of waste of cash. Like, these flak fillings are 70 points a pop. Just put that towards the Stug. The Stug is so good. And it's perfect against the low AP values of the Panzer Lehr's units in phase A. But anyway, Tarsh has been left the initiative, so it looks like he is going to be trying to make some ground with the speed troop here. And the Panzergrenadiers. The Pack 40's been allowed to fire at the half track. Oh no, Manotha, please. Don't do that. Here we go. Panzerwerfer is lining itself up. It was inevitable, and Manotha should have known that. He just left himself open to this Panzerwerfer strike, and it's going to hit a lot of his units. Like, at least spread out the units before you fire, because they barely had enough time to get out of there, and he was very lucky that Pack 40 did not die in 10 rockets from that Panzerwerfer strike. However, now that the Panzerwerfer has fired, and now the fact it's reloading, it may allow Manotha to get some really nice Pack 40 kills onto the 2-3-4-1 and the 258. However, as soon as it fires again, the fire support is going to come down onto that unit, and it has been spotted by the speed troop, so I'm not really sure that can do too much work. And with the Panzergrenadiers being caught as well, Tarsh is once again the person to make the aggressive play with the Panzer Lehr. And that immediately tells me that the opponent has done something wrong, because this shouldn't happen. Like, yes, there is the potential to be very aggressive with the Panzer Lehr early on. Like, you could do like a double Puma push on one side of the map with a 2-3-4-1 or something, and then just skeleton crew the rest of the map. But it's not often you see it. And in this case, it wasn't like it was set up like that at the start. Tarsh has just been allowed to bring all of these units into the same place, and now is making a push into the territory of Manotha. So it's now a +1 in favour of Tarsh, and it's not really going to get any easier from here. There's only 3 minutes and 15 seconds left on the clock until phase B, and then, I mean, at this rate, Tarsh is just going to have saved for a King Tiger again, and we saw that the first time he played on Carpiquet Duellists. Now this Nebelwerfer, well, that really missed the mark, didn't it? Didn't hit anything. Completely whiffed on the Panzergrenadiers. Now is in line of sight of the 2-3-4-1 as well. Might even get killed. Manotha's really just in disarray down here. He is going to be bringing in a couple of Panzerschreck squads, but whether or not these can actually do anything at this point remains to be seen. They might be able to get into some of these hangars and really cause issues for the half-track and support vehicles as they try and push up. But so far, Tarsh has been pretty clean with this push. He's only taken 3 losses on his Panzergrenadiers, and he's taken out the Pak 40. He's done a lot of damage to these Panzergrenadiers, and now he's making a lot of ground as well. Stosstroop here, they are in the 100 meter range, and this is when you really want to just let them open up. You don't want to let those Panzergrenadiers in that other building. No, no, now he opens up. Oh, it's just mistimed. You want to kill the Panzergrenadiers when they're in the open, because if he does it like that, yes, as soon as he opens up, all of this fire support kills him, but you just jump those in and out of the hangar over and over again, and what happens is the submachine guns can aim and fire very quickly, so you take out this Panzergrenadier squad and your Stosstroop remains alive, and just keep jumping them out and in until these guys can no longer see you, and that's how you got to do it. It's a pretty tricky move to make. Like, you know, that sort of level of micro means you have to sort of abandon the rest of the map for the time being, but it's definitely something that was required there to stop these Panzergrenadiers from getting into the hangars, because now my rule is coming into effect. Whoever makes it into the opposing side's hangars early on is going to win the game, and like here I'm kind of struggling to see how Manotha is going to get out of this, especially with like more Panzergrenadiers arriving. These guys are going to bump straight into those Speedtroop, and there's going to be a lot of units firing towards that. Panzerschreck does open up onto the 258, so the jig is up on that side of things. Like, these Panzerschrecks are going to be like aware on, or Tarsh is going to be aware of the Panzerschrecks now, and is going to start playing around them. These Speedtroop get killed off very quickly in the face of that half-track of the Panzergrenadiers. These Panzergrenadiers, though, do take a lot of damage from the IG-18 and Flakfelling, though, as they push through that tree line, and probably wish they hadn't. This 257, though, oh, look at that Panzerwerfer strike. It is beautiful, straight on top of the IG-18 and the Flakfelling. Nebelwerfer goes down as well. The Stug 3 is finally here, everyone. Huzzah! But it's almost phase B, and it's a little bit too late. He's already lost the ground, and now really all Tarsh needs to do is just smoke, right? Yeah, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's one step ahead of me here. He's managed to get the smoke down, and that will allow his forces here to just get into the positions they want to be, and this Stug's now going to have a real hard time pushing forwards. That was a really nice Nebelwerfer strike. It took out the IG-18, took out the Flakfelling. That mortar also killed off the Panzergrenadiers. Tarsh just really playing almost flawlessly on this bottom side at the moment. It's really, really nice to see, actually, with the Phase A Panzer Lehr. Now we are moving into Phase B. You can see the amount of vehicles that Tarsh really has to play with here. He's just got to make sure that he manages them correctly so they don't die to this Stug 3, and it looks like that 258 will. Well, the Stug 3 actually missed. After me hyping that up all this time, it missed its first shot. Very nice. Missed its second shot as well. That is not something you see very often. That is a 6 accuracy, 2-star unit. That is, yeah, a shame. But some command would be nice for that, and the 2-2-3 is on the way, but I think that's going to be assisting whatever these are, and these are an IG-33 and an IG-18. Where are they going, and why are they going there? I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, 257 is pinning down and forcing back this Flakfelling. It's only going to be a matter of time until this Panzergrenadier are found as well. And this is just crazy. The Panzer Lehr pushing almost a 58% territory lead. If it is a 58% territory lead early on, it will be a +2. And things are just going to get more and more difficult. We can see that the Puma is on the way on the side of Tarsh, and if the smoke comes down correctly from Tarsh here, he can really like block off this Stug 3 and use the Puma to like get an ambushing shot on that or something with the accompaniment of this 2-3-4-1. Like, just stopping the Stug 3 from making an advance at this point is all he needs to do, but the Panzergrens here might be able to do that if they can get into the hangar closest. May just be in range if Manotha sort of goes a little bit too close there. One of the 258s did go down to the Stug 3, but that Stug 3 has a lot of work to do. Now we've moved into phase B. Manotha is investing in a Stug 4, and I actually quite like that. If he sends that to the top side and he makes a push up here, that would be really, really smart. But instead it is coming down to the bottom side, and that's okay as well. It's just got to get a lot of kills. And I feel like Manotha is trying to put a band-aid on what is a pretty large cut into his forces right here. Just with the Panzergrens being able to get into a decent position without taking too much damage as well is like perfect for the Panzer Lehr. Because one thing that the Panzer Lehr struggles with is infantry availability, and if their infantry isn't taking any damage, then they really aren't being punished enough. And that's exactly what you're seeing here. This half-track is just freely firing at the flak building. There's nothing this Stug 3 can do about it. 2-3-4-1s are going to be engaging this Stug 3. Why is that Stug 3 moving? Oh, it had an attack order onto the 2-3-4-1 rather than an attack move order, and therefore moved when the 2-3-4-1 hid. So yeah, that Stug 3 still not finding any more kills after the 258. And that's not good. Flak is almost dead as well. This MG is going to find the kill. 52% or +2 on the side of Tarsh now. Phase B now, Panzer Lehr, but still, I am mighty surprised. Now, early on in the 17th SS, you do suffer from the same income as the Panzer Lehr. Like, you do have low income, but it is still 2 minutes to buy this Stug 3. And if that was here, stopping all of this advance, that would have been perfect. Like, as even like just accompanying it, maybe not even buy it in at the start, but bring in the Pak 40 and then have the Stug come in afterwards, so that the Panzerwerfer fires at the Stug and they try and advance on you. Then the Pak 40 does the job. If they attack the Pak 40, your Stug 3 is free to fire at all of these units. And yeah, now he's kind of in an awkward position because they have loads of places to hide. And a really good play here from Tarsh is going to be trying to smoke off the Stug and get real close so the 2-3-4-1 can find a kill. Now it seems as though Manotha has brought in this Pak 40, and that is going to be in a really good position here actually to force back the Puma. But Tarsh is just looking here for the Stug kill at close range. Oh, the 2-3-4-1 here going to be bailed out. Tarsh making this super aggressive play right now into the face of this Pak 40. No fucks were given. Just going at it. Can this 2-3-4-1 find the kill onto the Stug 3? It's going to be insane if it can. It doesn't need to stop, right? Oh, the internal fire. It's going to stop the Stug 3 from firing for now, but the IG-18, the IG-33 got it covered. Wow. That was so nearly a 2-3-4-1 kill onto the Stug 3. But not quite. Internal fire will be dealt with, and that Stug 3 will be back in action. Pak 40 cleans up the half-track on this bottom side, does clean up the second 2-3-4-1 as well. Puma did not die though, so that's going to be coming into line of sight of this Stug. Stug's going to take a while to line up. Puma's on target, does get the track wheel destroyed, but doesn't get the kill. Oh my, Manotha's unlucky there that wasn't a one-shot. But now the Puma has all day long to find the kill onto the Stug. Panzerwerfer's forced back the Pak 40, and that is a dead Stug 3. The half-track there going to be taken out by the IG-33. Speed through, try and take a grenade shot at the half-track, but the half-track is en route to surrender. A lot of units here. Can the Stoss troops save the day with their Panzerfaust? I think they will. Yeah, that could have been absolutely disgusting. But Tarsh showing a perfect example of how to use that Panzerwerfer. Really just pin things down and try and surrender it as best you can. And that was a hell of an aggressive play out. Tarsh, really exciting to watch. Love that. Okay, so we are sat at 59% territory lead in favour of Tarsh. And honestly, from the first time that I ever saw Tarsh in one of these tournaments to where he is now, like, this is exciting stuff. Like, I'm really liking seeing his development as a player. He's made, he was almost flawless in Phase A. Like, that is not something you see very often from a Panzer Lehr player. So anyway, Befehl Panther was afforded. That actually came in a while ago as well. And that is a 280 point unit afforded with 95 points per minute. Like, that is just crazy. And now it's going to really punish Manotha and this Stug 4. Like, this Stug 4 is just gone. Ouch. That's gotta hurt. There's a new Stug 4 coming in on the bottom side, but I'm sure Manotha now is really thinking, how does he deal with a Befehl Panther in the open? Well, answer is he doesn't. And, well, it doesn't matter anyway, since the Pak 40 is going to kill his Stug 4. Yes, he's going to be able to get a shot back with the IG-18 and the Pak 40, but the Panther's on the case of the IG-18, and the Pak 40 is now lost line of sight. So, yeah, that was dealt with very quickly. Just in general, Tarsh playing this very, very well. The investment into this Befehl Panther, well worth the wait. It was good to see it wasn't a King Tiger again. Like, King Tigers are definitely overrated in Steel Division. And a lot of people will hate me for saying that, but it's definitely true. Like, Panthers are just way more versatile and just aim a lot quicker, are a lot quicker in general, like just by speed. And it helps them from getting out of sticky situations. And 14 front armor is generally more than enough to deal with most divisions. Now, I think the 17th SS does get access to Pak 43s later on, so maybe those will become a factor, and Manotha can try and use that to his advantage. But again, the random investment in AA, what is that there for? Is he preempting a airstrike from the Panzer Lehr? I'm not really sure. The only other thing I could say is that maybe he wants to bring in his Ju-87s. And I think they can get a Ju-87G, right, the 2-star one that can do a lot of work onto these vehicles, so covering that with AA is always a good idea. Like, I'd always recommend having some AA on the field at least before you invest in your Air Force, because it does allow you to cover it as it retreats. But Panzerwerfer firing away once again, this time onto 2 Pak 40s. One rocket is going to hit directly on target, the second one does as well. Pak 40 goes down, almost kills the SDKF Z-10-4 in the process. This Pak 40 is left on 2 health. This Pak 40 in the mid just got taken out by the Vesper. And, wow. Just incredible strikes here from Tarsh throughout Phase A and B so far. We're just about to move into Phase C, and this is where things get incredibly ugly for Manotha. 150 points per minute on the side of Tarsh. Manotha does still have 130 himself, but is it enough to get the job done? We'll have to wait and see. Ju-88S coming in with the 2 25 HE power bombs. Is that onto the Puma or is it onto the Panther? I think it's onto the Panther. So the Panther's not going to die from that. It had the potential to, but it didn't this time around. If it had landed on the Puma, however, that probably would have found a kill. 258 here, under a lot of fire from that AA. Pak 40 is going to have plenty of time to aim. This Pak 40, I'd like to see that try and sneak out and get a kill onto the Befehl Panther or the Puma, though. And currently it's kind of wasting time firing at the 258. Got an attack move. Puma is under fire. You can see as soon as like it pins down one unit, it's retargeting another, because Manotha isn't like directly firing this. And 258 does go down in the end to the SDKF Z-71. Gepard's getting involved with the IG-18 and IG-33 here. That is going to allow the 257 mortar to get involved. Puma does go down, and so does the Gepard actually. I think it showed like side or rear armor. Oh no, it didn't actually, just reversed, took a big hit into the front armor and just died. So Manotha are putting up a resistance here that's just enough to hold on. Tarsh now a couple times almost has broken through, but Manotha holding on by the skin of his teeth. Like this placement of the IG-18 and IG-33, I questioned it, but honestly it's actually done quite well. It just doesn't really help him win the game. That's the main thing with that investment. It just doesn't help him win the game. So where does he go from here? He can't really rely on his tanks because he just gets trumped by the Panzer Lehr. He could maybe try and work around an air force and try and like pin down some units and push up with like half tracks or something. But he doesn't really have many half tracks at his disposal. He'd have to probably use these SDKF Z10-4s. So yeah, it's kind of just in a really awkward position now. And losing the ground early on definitely didn't help his case. Does find the kill onto the half track there. Panzerwerfer going to be firing once again though onto the Pak 40. Surely going to find the kill. Panzerwerfer ran out of ammunition. Vespers might finish the job. Have to wait and see. But yeah, there is 3 Pak 38s up here that are not doing anything. There's quite a lot of units on the side of Manotha that I feel like he should be at least trying to probe with. Because all Tarsh has defending up here is Speedtroop, Panzergrens, 3 half-tracks. That's it. That's why I was saying that when that Stug 4 came in up here, if he'd send that to the top side, it would have maybe allowed him to make ground where the expensive units of Tarsh are not. And that's a smart play to make. But instead he just attempted to use those Stug 4s on the bottom side to fix a problem that probably wasn't going away, and therefore just led himself to likely lose the match because of it. Nebelwerfer here does manage to hit a couple shots relatively close to this Pak 40, but that is a 2-star Pak 40 still on 3 health. That thing has the potential to do a lot of damage. We can see a Pak 43 on the way. Can that find the shots onto the Befehl Panther? That would be one way to start bringing this game back, but 150 points per minute. I'm not even sure Tarsh is utilising all of them at this point. I don't see enough reinforcements on the way. Okay, never mind. Here comes a Panther A. That definitely changes thing a little. And that's going to bring he's actually bringing that up to the top side. That's very smart. Again, on the side of Tarsh, he's sort of preempting a push up here, or maybe he wants to make a push himself. But either way, focusing on both sides of the map now, especially when he's kind of hit a brick wall down here, is a good idea for just both players. Just try and make that play on the top side. But as long as we are in this game, it's still a +2 for Tarsh, and he is solidifying his victory. It is coming up to 1,800 points now. And Manotha, really just not much going on. IG-18 is going to stop the advance of some infantry for now, but that's going to start to be hit by the Vespers. Pretty sure they're both firing at that now. We have some infantry arriving on the top side. Pak 38s and all the infantry here are moving forwards finally. Without any solid fire support from like a Stug or something, it's going to be relatively hard to push in to these half tracks. I guess the Pak 38s might be able to kill them. So it's going to be more reliant on the Panzergrens in that case. Not so sure, but with the Panther A on the way, yeah, things are going to get difficult. Ooh, Ju-88 there. What's that bombing? It's going for the bombing strike onto the 2 half tracks, just trying to get them out of the picture. That's a pretty good bombing strike. I like that. Not sure if he's spotted this coming yet. Yeah, he's definitely seen it now. Speedtroop in the open, they're just going to get wrecked. That's really put a hole in his plan there, hasn't it? I think, yeah, finally wanted to like utilize these resources up here, but a Panther A can just shrug off the Pak 38 shots and just stop this infantry from moving forwards effectively at all. On this bottom side, Speedtroop just sort of shifting up a little bit, small movements here and there. Looks like the first Pak 43 that was brought in is already dead. There's now a second one on the way. We didn't see that die. But it could have been maybe a Panzerwerfer strike, or maybe the Vesper. Maybe even the Panther just getting the kill before it unloaded. Not sure. But either way, more infantry arriving up here. Can they make the ground that Manotha so dearly would like right now? If they cannot, there is 3 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock until Tarsh wins the game. Big troop. They're going to be pinned down by the Pioneers. But in return, I think the Panther's going to be starting to fire at those, making it again difficult to push up. I'd like to see this Panther actually get much closer. Like, having the ability to use its machine guns would definitely help it out. But maybe I guess he just doesn't need to. Focuses the Panzer Strike, gets that out of the way. That's nice. Panzergren should probably fall back from here just into one of these buildings, because that gives them more of a solidified position of which they can defend from. And, well, if a Panther A wasn't enough, a King Tiger's here. And generally you only see, like, King Tigers when you're ahead. It's something that's quite interesting about King Tigers in general. I think Panthers are a nice price. They're 280 points. And especially for Panzer Lehr, that's just 2 minutes in Phase B, or in Phase C. In the King Tiger, it's like more than 3 minutes income, right? So you have to wait a significant amount longer for a King Tiger. And the only way you can ever really do that is if you're ahead. So, yeah, in this case, you can just see how much of a lead Tarsh has. And it was a similar position with the last game he played on this map. The fact he brought in, I think it was a King Tiger at the start of Phase B. That is something you do not see very often from a Panzer Lehr player. Now, Pak 43 has been brought up, but just immediately RT'd by Tarsh here, making sure he's going to try and pin that down. And as soon as it is, well, the Panther can just go to work. Panzerwerfer also going to be firing at that Pak 43. Oh, look at this strike coming in. Oh, is any rockets actually going to hit the mark, I wonder? No, they're not. Still the pin there, though. And Panzergrens from Tarsh are being forced back. 1 minute left. 1 minute and 35 seconds on this +2. And that will be maximum score reached. Look at all this infantry. It's so bunched up here. Wow. Imagine like a Ju-88 with 230 HE power bombs on all of this. Tasty. Or even like a Karl Garat. Definitely something that excites me a little bit too much. But anyway, looking elsewhere on the map, Panzergrens, they are dead. In the mid, we see a 258 being picked off by the SOS troop. This is actually something that I sort of mentioned at the start, how annoying these little SOS troop squads could be. And it was a shame that we didn't see the SOS troop, I think it was in this hangar, get the kill onto the Panzergrens. Because if those Panzergrens had died, it would have made Tarsh have to play a lot more careful around that hangar with the rest of his units. And that would have maybe delayed Tarsh long enough for Manotha to stop him from gaining that ground. Ju-88 is going to be coming in for the bombing strike onto the Panther A. 288s are on the field now, so that is going to make those bombing strikes rather inaccurate. Wow, that was a whiff and a half, wasn't it? The morale being affected there on the Ju-88 makes them less accurate, and that was certainly the case. Focke-Wulf 190 A8, 2-star, Veteran C, might get the kill, and it does, just before the Ju-88 gets out. Just adds insult to injury as the game comes to a close, and after 30 minutes and 30 seconds, Tarsh wins a convincing victory on Carpiquet Duellists versus Manotha. So Manotha is going to be knocked out of the tournament since this was the lower bracket. Tarsh can be moving on to round 3 of the lower bracket. And yeah, interesting. 1,930 kills to 1,185 losses. In Phase A, Tarsh, like I said, played almost flawlessly with his Panzer Lehr. Manotha kind of just letting it happen though. Let's have a look at these kills. So this Panzerwerfer worked out to be quite a nice choice in the end. Wasn't very lethal in terms of the kills it got. but definitely helped pin down the important units he came up against, like those Pak-40s early on. This 2-3-4-1, I think in the end got the kill on that. This one was a Pak-40 from later on. This Pak-40 killed off the Stug 4, that was 3-star at the time. This Befehl Panther coming in and popping that Stug again. Vesper's taking care of 2 more Pak-40s. That Pak-40 also killed off the Pak-43 that came in. Wow. In terms of losses, there was barely any losses early on. This was the first kill that came, and that was a Pak-40 shooting one of the half-tracks that had already made all that ground. That is how scary that attack was from Tarsh. Like, it just didn't take any damage. Like, the Panzergrens maybe took a few losses, like, in their squad, but they didn't die completely, and that was very important for that to work. Then later on, Pak-40 came in. The Pak-40s were making it difficult for Tarsh to continue to make ground. But Manotha just set himself up in a very defensive position. And I would have loved to have seen that Stug 4 go to the top side to try and just like make a play where the expensive units of Tarsh were not. And I guess that was probably the biggest mistake that Manotha made in this game. But that's all for now. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.